3 hours. That is how long the Langoliers is. And you were just wondering, what is a Langolier? Well, it's a Stephen King made for TV adaptation of one of his books from, when is that? 4 Past Midnight, which stars an airplane that somehow goes through a time rip and ends in an alternate dimension. And I'm like, that's pretty much the main gist of it. They have to discover what's going on in this world before chronophage people, literally time eaters, if you will, from Greek words time and eat phagios, I think. So what happens in the beginning? There's this airplane that's flying from I forgot where, Colorado, all the way to Maine, and somehow some dum-dum head decides to go through a time rip that's never explained, and they end up in this Canopsia area. Canopsia meaning place that was once populated is now completely deserted, aka the Westland Mall. So they just like all the passengers disappear, and then there's only 10. A novelist, haha, Stephen King, inserting your own self. The pilot, a girl that's blind, a person played by Bronson Pinchot from Perfect Strangers, and a sitcom, and some other people are like whatever. It's oof, and they make their way to the airport, had to discover what's going on. I'm like, 3 hours, so I throw my arms back like this, and somehow I managed to watch it all on Wednesday night. And I'm like, well, it's an adaptation, all right. I don't know. I feel conflicted about this one. All right, let's get this right first of all. It's low budget, obviously. They had the hydraulics for the cockpit and everything else that was going on to simulate the airplane that they were going on. 2, it is taken seriously, as you can get for being in an abandoned airport in a derelict alternate dimension. Alright, they play it straight, which is enough to keep it going. 3, Bronson Pinchot, is arguably the standout, which I'll get to him in a little bit. And you kind of do feel for Dinah, the blind girl who has telepathic powers, I guess enough. And you feel the sterility of the airport. This is just one massive empty area. And ultimately, when they return, it is pretty to look at the time rip. And I'm stealing a joke on the Nostalgia Critic. It is called a sky vagina, a sky gina. It is really nice to look at. But the CGI is pretty freaking bad. I mean, when I'm looking at the CGI in the beginning, this airplane, okay, granted, the DVD I watched was a VHS rip, and there's been no American Blu-ray or even any touch-ups, so what we get is, it just looks awful. I mean, it's obvious, it's freaking bad CGI. The render's horrible in the sense of, like, it doesn't look like it's clean or anything. It looks like it was made in Microsoft PowerPoint, so that looks bad. And we get to see this airplane at least a couple of times, so when I'm just looking at it, I'm just like, why are you repeating the same shot? Can you just use like a miniature practical effects instead of introducing this very lousy shot? I mean, Mick Garris, whatever, he does a good job here, but 3 hours, you had to waste it on that. Otherwise I'm watching it. And then when the Langoliers come, they look like meatballs that have their mouths open with teeth. They look horrendous now. I mean, probably for back then it was good, but this is pre-Gollum and everything else and post-Jurassic Park, but this is just inexcusably bad. The CGI is horrendous. To be fair, though, they did contact Stephen King did work on the production. I think it was like, and saying like, here's how the Langoliers should look. So, at the very least, I will say that this film is, from what I've heard, is faithful to the book, and King has said that it's darned good. So I will say that, and I will admit when they are in the airport, sometimes it is good, when they're exploring and they're trying to science everything and put it together and discovering that, hey, how this world is becoming desolate. It's like beer's flat, it's the electricity doesn't work, even the soda itself is flat. But when they hop on the airplane, it's like, hey, we brought our own electricity. The beer is good, the soda is good. It's like, okay, I like the dichotomy going on there. I will say that. But we get so just the characters that are just flat. I guess I don't know. I mean, Tom Holland is in here, not the Spider-Man Holland, but the other one. I guess you can understand the height, the tension going on with the characters in the beginning. You kind of want to see the adventure, I guess. I don't know. I mean, when they're introducing themselves, I'm like, okay, we can at least get different personalities. So I guess there's that. It's enough, I guess, to carry this TV miniseries on for a while, but it just becomes boring towards the end as the art student gets forgotten about, and then this one girl who's going to enter rehab or whatever gets just tossed aside. There's no personality with her or anything like that. There's a British guy who's a soldier who helps the pilot, so I kind of like the helpfulness that he does, keeping everyone sane. So he's at least a little interesting. So I guess they're not all the worst in the world, but yeah, they're in the airport for too long. I have to say that, for a good 30 minutes too long. And the blind girl is one of the most what the heck lines of all time. She's saying it's like, it sounds like when you put milk into Rice Krispie cereal. That's what it sounds like. That's like the least intimidating sound. They say, yeah, it's a horrible cereal noise. What? So stupid. And then, but yes, Bronson Pinchot is really good. It's like he screams, he says, scaring the little girl. With such humor, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it was funny. He has his dad. It's also one of the prevalent themes in Stephen King books. Some of them, parental units and children units going at it. So I guess it's like we get to see enough going on, but they're screaming hilariously over the top, and you can actually kind of measure how agape their mouths are. Again, nostalgia critic did like 7 centimeters and 12 centimeters, just the screaming. So that was funny as heck, but I don't know. And then finally they return back to Earth, to the planet, and the new world is forming. And I'm just like, they say that the Langoliers aren't exactly good nor bad. They're just to help keep things balanced. But I don't know. It's just too damn long. I'm sorry. It just needs to be 2 hours. This movie, it could have been 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. Would have been enjoyable. But yeah, it's just slow. And I don't know. I'd say watch it, whatever your thoughts are. But yeah, it's fine.